Hello, everyone in podcast land. This is Erin here, back for another podcast here from Transfiguration Catholic Church. I did a couple of podcasts with a fellow coworker and fellow parishioner, Kristen Thomas. She is serving on staff here as our lower school director and preschool director, so she's very busy preparing for school this week. So maybe next month we'll get her back on. But today I'm joined by Melissa Finney. She is a parishioner, first was a parishioner, and is now a staff member. Parish Life Coordinator, am I right? Even though all of our jobs have changed, I think that's your current title.
You know, Aaron, it's one of those things where you have a, quote, title, but really we do everything here at the church, right? I mean, no one has specific things. We all help each other out when we need to.
Do what we can. And especially in COVID, we are doing whatever it takes. So, yeah, it's fun. Now, Melissa has been with us just over a year, right? You had your anniversary a couple weeks ago?
Yes, August 7th.
Yep, so that was pretty exciting. I got to know Melissa a little bit beforehand. Well, first I have to tell this story because Melissa and Josh, her wonderful husband, were known as the Hy-Vee couple because they moved here from Iowa, right?
Correct.
To work at the Hy-Vee store in Oakdale, which our previous pastor, God rest his soul, Father William Bear, was obsessed. So let's see, I'm not sure if it's obsessed, fascinated, some combination of the two.
In love with.
And definitely in love with. So he was so excited when he met Melissa and Josh, and he told everybody on staff that day, there's this new couple and they both work at Hy-Vee. It's the best thing ever. And we were sort of excited.
You know, it's kind of funny because when his mom was here for his anniversary mass, he actually introduced, he's like, Mom, it's the Hy-Vee couple I've told you about. So it's kind of funny, but...
Yes, he was very fascinated by Hy-Vee. It's a good thing. So then we were, I don't know if we were actually in a small group together, but we did the same program, Walking with Purpose.
Correct. We were not in a small group, but I got to know some of the other people in the small group.
There you go. Okay, so then Melissa is in the National Guard and was away for a period of time, and we prayed for her and with her, and we texted with her during the winter of, let's see, what year was
2018, 2019.
2018-19. So she wasn't able to be with us physically, but we would text her, and she would text prayer requests, and she actually started a program with her group where she was. So it was a pretty cool thing.
Yes, we had start our own Women's Walking with Purpose group there where we were at. So it was kind of nice because you had people from all walks of life coming together, and it's different to do it there because, part of Walking with Purpose, they talk about sacrificing, trying to go without things. Maybe we pick a couple outfits you can't live with for a while. You're like, hey, well, I'm already doing that. So we had to kind of adjust some of the things they said to make it fit towards what we were doing.
Yeah, so it was pretty neat. So then Melissa came back and decided to look for a new job, new career.
I actually interviewed while I was gone via FaceTime.
Yes, you did, with Father Erickson and Justin Cordum.
Which was interesting to do.
Yeah.
I've never had a FaceTime interview before, so that was kind of different. Especially when you consider the 8-hour time zone difference.
Right. Well, and then to imagine that pretty much like all interviews are on Zoom. Sorry, FaceTime has been replaced by Zoom.
Yes.
But yeah, now we do a lot more things via
Now it's like
video.
normal.
Right. It's a little
we were ahead
odd.
of our time then, I guess.
Yes, there you go. You were ahead of your time. So what made you want to come to work at Transfiguration?
Well, as Erin said, when we moved up here, I was working for Hy-Vee and had worked there since actually from Iowa. So I started working when I was 16 years old, and I won't say my age now, but let's just say I had plenty of years at working for the company, and I just kind of needed a change. And prior to doing that, I've been a catechist for confirmation here at Transfiguration, and I was one in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, for a couple churches. And I always loved volunteering. I always loved doing activities. My husband and I were volunteered to be in charge of the fall festival, and so we kind of got doing that. And then I always loved the church life, but was kind of afraid. Sometimes there, we get to get so comfortable in a job situation for a company, we're kind of afraid to make that leap and to change. Like, even though we know it's going to be for the right thing, and that's nothing against Hy-Vee, it's a great company, but just I need to change. And so, honestly, I was actually just scrolling around for different jobs in parishes in the metro, and I found one actually. Emailed or texted one of the other staff persons, Justin Shea here, and I'm like, hey, what do you know about this parish? He's like, honestly, do you know we actually have an opening right now here at Transfiguration for the same job? And I'm like, what? And so I contacted Justin Cordum, so just happened, the Holy Spirit acting right there. Had I not emailed Justin Shea or asked him about the one other parish for the youth minister job, I never would have put him for this one. So.
Yeah, so that's great. And you have done some youth ministry work here for us, and like you said, you were involved, and of course, What's it like now? Like, it's kind of weird. No, you did get to do a sort of extreme faith camp this summer, but yeah, kind of all the typical stuff you were doing.
Yes, it's kind of not really available to do anymore. So obviously, I'm sure most of you guys out there in podcast world know that we're not able to have our typical festival that we have annually, unfortunately, and won't be able to do the Taste Transfiguration that we normally do. So two of the big, huge events I normally help plan, unfortunately, we can't do them this year. So it is different, but I'm taking on some other roles. I'm kind of doing a lot more with the communication aspect and doing a lot of our social media and our bulletin. We have a newsletter we email to parishioners. So finding other ways to get involved and help everyone out.
Yes. Yeah, what do you think is, like with youth ministry, I mean, you did the Extreme Faith Camp and you were able to be outside because it was during the summer, and of course what I understand is really important about that experience is to go to camp for a week and to really have some deep experiences and get the kids kind of out of their comfort zone. What do you see? I mean, I'm certain. Oh, no, I'm not certain, I guess. I'm totally not certain what the future, like what this year brings.
Right.
But, do you think we're losing ground with kids, or are you guys finding better ways or different ways to connect?
I think we're finding different and creative ways, and that's one thing that Mr. Corbin and I have kind of talked about is how, and working with Mr. Shea as well, too, like how can we do different things to keep the kids involved. And like you're saying, typically Extreme Faith Camp, you'd go away for a week. I've never actually been, so I've heard great things about it. So we kind of worked with St. Ambrose Catholic Church and did like a joint one with them where we met just, Monday through Thursday, just in the evening. So definitely condensed from what they normally do, but we still try to keep that same format. And I know a lot of our students, our middle school kids and our high school kids, even they loved it. And we actually had a few seniors who were graduating. I had one senior tell me that he was actually, he couldn't go to his prom, he was going to miss graduation, but the thing that he was going to miss the most was not being able to go to Extreme Faith Camp. And so he was ecstatic that he was actually able to come back and help out and work with the middle school kids for one more time. Even though it wasn't the same, it was enough to at least get people involved.
Sure, that's great. Yeah, that's wonderful. So what else? What else are you happy you made the switch? So I always say from the for-profit world, because I don't know a good name for it, and it's been 7 years I think since I made that switch, and definitely don't regret it. Never look back. It's wonderful working here at Transfiguration. I suppose I would love any church, but I especially love working here because it's my place.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I love it. I'm thankful that I have this opportunity, and it is. I will tell you, the first time, actually, when I first came back and I had to take over the fall festival right away, you definitely get the difference between being a volunteer and then you get the other side of it as a staff member. And a lot of times, when I was a volunteer, I never realized how many behind-the-scenes things went into some things, and that's definitely it's a learning curve. And so basically, I've been here right at a year. So we'll say, for lack of better terms, 4.5, 5 of those months have been under COVID-19. Mm-hmm. So which doesn't help. But no, I love it. And it's great, and every day is different. Dealing with people and talking with people is great. Like you and every other staff person, we look forward to the day when we can have the church filled with people.
Site. I mean, to stay, to chat, to
hang
out,
I do
to
miss
eat donuts.
Yes,
right?
Who does not miss coffee and donuts?
Right.
But no, I miss being able to talk with our parishioners after masses, and you may see me in the parking lot and quickly say hi to them. But I, like everybody, we look forward to that day, and we do a lot of phone calling, so we've been keeping in touch with people that way, and I think that's great. I think that connection is awesome with people.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely getting old for that reason mostly, is just missing people that, during the day, during the week, while it's quiet, that just the crowd that was here for daily mass, it was here for Bible study. It was just so nice to just see such, happy, smiling faces and check in with people. And yeah, so we miss you all. I hope you're listening to us, but we miss you, and we love to see you when we do get to see you and wave, or now that we're all wearing masks, it's hard to smile.
I will say
at
there's
you,
one
but
part
we're
I do have a
smiling.
problem with. Like, sometimes I'll see people with a mask. I'm like, wait, who's that? And I'm like, oh, it's John Doe. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting. But I think as Transfiguration, I think we're faring rather well. I think people's spirits
absolutely.
are positive, and
Yes.
like you said, our parishioners are responding well to what we have to do to make sure Mass happens, and part of your job is as the faith formation coordinator as well. So we're just kind of right now trying to solidify plans, right? We, as in Melissa and Justin, are doing it with Father Erickson's oversight on what we're going to do for fall programming, because it's really hard right now to have people on site. So we're looking at some alternatives.
It's definitely going to be totally different. We're actually going to give people two different options. One option will be for 100% doing everything at home and checking in touch with myself and Justin and maybe a couple other staff members once every month, a couple times throughout the program, just whether it be in face or via Zoom or phone call, whatever we can do. And the other one will be like our typical one Saturday a month here at Transfiguration. Like I said, we're still working out the finite details. So
one day a month where Father gets to address them and kind of
Yep, so what typically we do for that is the kiddos will all go to one room or a couple different rooms, keeping social distancing, obviously. And the parents will meet inside the church and listen to a talk from either Father Erickson or Justin Cordum. So we're just kind of giving people options, and then the nice thing is we're not going to lock you down at options. So we'll say at the beginning of the year, you're like, you know what, we're not comfortable to do this. We want to do everything at home. But then after a few months, you feel our things start to get better, the numbers start to get better, and you feel more comfortable, we'll allow you to switch. We're not going to... the biggest thing is we want to work with your child and with your family. Our biggest mission is to help your child and help you guys grow in your formation, help you guys get to heaven. So that's our goal here.
Yeah, so however we can meet each family's needs within reason, right? We're
absolutely
going to make it work. Yeah, you guys are great with that, just kind of moving with it. And we also, this is something that kind of really makes me sad as we now have our wonderful associate pastor, Father Brian Lynch, and the usual welcome. It just wasn't there. Like we couldn't, he can't really shake hands.
Right, and then the same thing too. When Father Johnson left, it would have been great to have a goodwill party for him too, or going away party for him. And we couldn't do that either. And I think even the parishioners have missed that.
Yeah.
But, maybe once everything gets back to normal, we'll just have to have a big, huge party.
Or several.
Yeah.
We don't.
The more, the better.
We'll put the work in there. We got that. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely different, and we're going to keep moving, and the excitement, as I said this week, with which is why Kristen Thomas isn't joining us, is just the excitement of school, getting the teachers are in the building at their leisure this week to kind of get their rooms ready, because there's just a lot of work and changing kind of the way the rooms to create more room, but thank the Lord, man, that our students get to come back on campus. Please, everyone out there listening, pray for all the children across our country, probably across the world, that get that opportunity, that they will stay healthy, that they can get their needs met as well, and all of the kids learning in whatever method is available to them. Just that it goes well, and we can get them all back where they need to be.
I think the parents too. I can't even imagine being a parent right now, having kids go back to school and trying to figure out what the best solution is for you and your family. That's got to be a stressful time for all the parents out there.
Yeah.
I know my sister has two kids, and one of them's in school age, and where they live, they actually had the choice to go 100% distant learning or 100% in class.
Oh, wow.
In Iowa they do that, so I think for her and her husband, it was a huge decision on what to do.
Yeah. Did they make one yet? Did they have to?
As of right now, they're going with distant learning.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. That could change too.
Yeah, right. And it's even changing. I was reading the news this morning, and it's even changing. I think the Roseville district decided that, districts now that made a decision are having to make a new decision and kind of go all distance. So, yeah, things are interesting to watch. But, yeah, I think in the end, I keep thinking, thank goodness it's been summer. And at least we're sort of used to this new way of life, that I think when winter comes, we'll hopefully all be okay. We'll hopefully all be in, our Bible study groups. We'll have our small groups to rely on our friends, our faith friends.
Absolutely.
That's been something big. So Melissa and I then were able to be in the same small group this season. It's just a wonderful experience to have those ladies to pray with. And when COVID hit, we did Zoom for a while.
We did. We had some Zoom happy hours.
We did. Yeah, it was fun. It was okay. I led several of them, and that's really hard.
Yes, I agree. I've had to lead some too, and it is. You're trying to keep track of who's talking, who you need to mute, because we've all done the Zoom calls. There's that person who forgets to hit mute.
Yeah.
And there's a person who forgets to unmute.
Right. And even just because, you want to make sure that, so as a small group leader, you get a little bit of training, and you try to pay attention so that, one person doesn't monopolize the conversation.
Correct.
Or that. And it was stressful trying to okay, did everyone get a chance to talk? Because I'm looking at my notes and I'm trying to participate. And that was exhausting to me.
I agree.
Yeah. So we were fortunate. A lot of the ladies are right around Oakdale, and Melissa's the outlier here. She moved all the way out to Woodbury, the far edge of Woodbury.
There's some other people in our group that live in Woodbury, too.
So we actually, when the weather got nice, we started meeting in driveways and parking lots and eventually patios.
Keeping our social distance, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah. So it was nice to have kind of that support.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think people need that. You need human contact. I mean, yes, Zoom works, or, Microsoft Teams or whatever format you're using, but I definitely think that person-to-person, face-to-face, seeing each other makes a big difference.
Yeah, so a question for you, because I'm just, in my personal life, I'm just like a coordinator. I don't really make the decisions. Like, what does the fall look like? What are you thinking for, I think Justin's getting ready to make, sort of the formal announcements on how we're going to do this. But what do you think? Like, you think people are going to be comfortable meeting in person? You think everyone's going to want to do it virtual? Are people still meeting in person? Maybe it never really stopped.
I think it's kind of depending on the group. I think some groups are going to want to still meet. Some people still want to meet like via Zoom or via teleconference or whatever format you use. But I think people will feel more and more comfortable to meet in person, at least especially nice. I think it'll be interesting, like you said, once winter hits. Now we can be outside on the patios and driveways and whatnot and, keep our spaces. But it'll be interesting to see what happens once the weather hits.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get blessed and we'll have like a really nice winter and it'll be 60 all year round. That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be something, suddenly? I don't think that's going to happen there, Melissa Finney.
we can pray.
Yeah. I don't know that.
We had one of our small group people move to Arizona, so we could all move to Arizona and visit her in Arizona.
Or she could just show us pictures of her nice weather while we...
That's
yeah,
right.
That's true. So, you, of course, working and doing all the things you do with your life.
I'm also working on my master's, too.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. That's not enough for Melissa Finney. She decided to go back.
I'm like, what? I have a few extra hours at night. I could, binge watch TV shows on Netflix. But instead, I decided to work on my master's in theology, so I just figured to finish my first semester and get ready to start back up next Monday.
So, how hard is a semester? Like, how many classes?
I took 2 classes, twos which are considered full-time.
Okay. What were they?
Philosophy for theologians, which
Whoa.
If anybody has ever taken philosophy, let's just say it's not my favorite class. And then the Synoptic Gospels. So I actually didn't know this when I was younger in my Catholic faith, and so I'm guessing a lot of people don't know it. So the Synoptic Gospels are the Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And so it's just comparing the differences between all those Gospels. So we had to write a 10-page paper comparing final judgment from Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and then comparing it to what it says in other passages of the Bible.
Because they're all written about a lot of the same material, right? But
right.
From their personal perspective.
Correct. It'd be kind of like if you and I each sat and watched something happen. Yes, we're going to tell the same story, but you may tell it one way and I may tell it a different way. And the biggest thing is the Holy Spirit actually inspired all of the writers of the Bible when they wrote.
So what did you conclude? That sounds really smart. Way smarter than me. Way above my pay grade. So.
I think the biggest thing is, and especially just looking at things what's going on right now, the biggest thing I can say is always be ready. The Bible is quite clear. We don't know when the moment's going to come. I know a lot of us don't like to go to confession. I'm right there with everybody. I get always nervous when I go, but it is important that we, go to confession as often as we can. We do the right thing. It's, when you see... Just do whatever you can to help people out. And I know sometimes I'm personally trying to probably get a little in traffic, make it a little frustrated. But just, remember to take a deep breath and stay calm and just pray for everybody. And then also there's people that you struggle to get along with. I would say also remember to pray for those people too.
Yeah.
I think that's the important thing.
It is important. Well, and I think especially now, I think there's so many things that... I think we talk about this as staff a lot because, of course, we spend a lot of time together and we're doing a lot of things that we don't necessarily want to be doing, right? We want Mass to be normal. We want our people to hang out after Mass and chat with us. We want...
Absolutely. We want you to sit wherever you want to sit.
Yeah, we don't... we're doing that and we get short, and I think we've been working together long enough, and a lot of us spend time together even outside of work that... Like, we can tell when we're all getting kind of short with each other. And Justin was explaining, he had listened to someone talk about how it's sort of mirroring PTSD, the way that kind of the COVID and, the loss of all this stuff in our lives is affecting these big changes in our lifestyles, right? I mean, I find myself getting that way, and I'm pretty fortunate. I have a 23-year-old and a 20-year-old son. And it's my husband and I and our two cute little dogs and our 20-year-old son at home, and we all kept going to work, just the nature of our jobs. And our lives really at home did change a lot, but yeah, like Justin's got a 2-year-old daughter, and he and his wife are both working from home some and trying to manage, sweet little Teresa's schedule that, kind of blew up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, our coworker Kim has got 2 kids that went on distance learning, and she had to stay home most of the time, and try to do some of her work and keep the kids. Her kids are, middle school, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think about that and think about this, how it affects us, and then how we kind of take that out on each other, not intentionally,
right.
but for, it's not that often, I think, that something this big happens that affects everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
It affects us differently, but yet it's the same thing affecting us all. And to just have that understanding, like you said, prayer is huge.
Yes.
Because you could get busy or you can get stuck in your stuff.
And I can find personally in my life, I know when I get bad in my prayer life, I can totally see it affect me. And it's one of those things I'm just now trying to force myself to get back in the better prayer life. Wake up in the morning, doing a small workout, if it's small, and then doing liturgy the hours, and then getting ready to come into work. And I have found it's made a difference the last couple of days when I've done it, just my perspective on everything.
Yeah, that's great.
And then I know people think, well, yeah, but you guys get to it, even when we're at Mass. It's like, even when we're at Mass.
Church, come on.
Yeah, even when we're at Mass, I'm like focused, especially those first few Masses when we were here. I think I was more focused on making sure what was going on, making sure we're doing everything correctly. And, myself and Justin helped with the live streaming. And I remember we were doing the just only live stream. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. You get to go to Mass, like in the church every day. I'm like, no, I'm like live streaming. I'm making sure everything is correct and all the camera angles are correct, and I couldn't even tell you what Father's homily was about.
Right, that's what you get to. You get distracted real
quick,
absolutely. Or not necessarily distracted, but you're focusing on
to make sure you guys can get the Mass at home.
Right, you're focusing on doing the job part of it, and then you're sort of half listening to the homily. Yeah, it was always nice even when we had the audio recording, because a lot of times the weekends that I was on to work, I would go home and then listen to it.
Yeah,
because it's like, I read the gospel. I usually try to read the readings each morning and a short reflection at least. And even then sometimes like I didn't even focus, and then you go to Mass and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that part, but I didn't remember. So it is a struggle, but it like you said, just
it's worth it though. I mean,
little things, totally worth it. But just to don't make it like I used to always, my hang up was always like, well, it's like an hour. Like I have to light a candle, and I have to sit in a quiet room, and I have to, focus, and I have to journal. And I was just like, after, you do it one time, and then you're like, well, I don't have a pen, and I forgot the candle, and like, oh, this just doesn't work. And it's like, just to know, like, no, just get the thing in your inbox and just read it and shut everything else off, and just take a few minutes to remember how that maybe could help your day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think the best advice I can give to people is, like you said, everyone's like, has to be an hour. Okay, well, if you haven't done a good prayer life yet, or if you're trying to get back into it, don't focus on it has to be an hour. Maybe start small. Maybe take 5 or 10 minutes and just sit in quiet. And then do that for a week. And then next week, add on a few more minutes. And eventually an hour is going to seem like nothing.
Right.
We've done that with the middle school kids before, too. I know Mr. Shea's really good about that. Like, okay, we're going to sit in adoration, just complete quiet, or just in private prayer for complete quiet. And, the kids are like 5 minutes seems like forever. But then by the time the school year's end, it's a little, well, I wouldn't say they're not perfect at it, but they're a lot better at it.
Yeah.
Because you develop it, yes.
What is it? And I had a golf instructor one time say, practice makes permanent.
Ooh.
Doesn't make perfect, but it will establish the habit.
Yes.
So the perfection part, I guess, is up.
And I don't know if you're like me, I'll like have a good prayer life going for a while, get up every morning, do the prayers, and then I'll miss a day. And then next I'm like, well, I already missed one day. What's one more day?
Right.
And then you quickly go that downward spiral. Sure. And that is a nice thing about working at a church. We do have a lot of people here to pick us up, and we do regular prayer here.
Accountability is high.
Yes. If you don't work at a church, I do encourage you to get an accountability partner, because I've noticed even before I worked at a church, when I had that, it was tremendous difference.
Yes. Or join a small group this fall, however you're most comfortable, via Zoom, there will be some, I believe, meeting in person somehow. But that kind of changed it for me, because I I don't have the knowledge. I certainly don't know philosophy.
I don't really know philosophy either.
Right, but you're doing okay there, Finny. Come on. So having that small group and to be able to just open up about all that stuff and to
absolutely.
just learn. I mean, the amount that I've learned from people in the group, and even when we just have questions, and one of us will. Sometimes we Google it while we're sitting there, but sometimes we're just like, okay, I'm going to write that down and I'm going to bring that back next week. And then we'll kind of start our meeting talking about the stuff we kind of sort of left hanging the week before.
Right,
so
absolutely.
Learned a ton in that. And actually, I think I probably said this in an earlier one, it's amazing how much scripture that you end up reading just in the snippets that we read on our weekly lessons. So that's kind of cool. And it's definitely more... Well, I'm learning how to understand it. So when I was trying to read, I have the Bible in a year Bible. Okay. But it got hard. You get the Old Testament readings. I don't understand any of it. I mean, it's like, okay, I have to like work at every sentence to try to put it in. So now I'm getting a better lens, and it's starting to make more sense. So,
and I will say in our bulletin coming out this Sunday, spoiler alert, we do have. So I know, Erin, not everyone's a small group person.
Correct.
Whether it's they don't want to be in person or not, they don't want to be around big groups of people. We are actually going to have a program available to our parishioners in which you can do some stuff online, but then you'll be attached to a mentor who you check in base with once here and there too. So it still gives you that accountability thing.
Yes.
But you can do it on your own.
Yeah, the thing from the Franciscan
University. Yes.
Yeah.
So I encourage everyone to check out our bulletin.
It's probably, what's today? It's Thursday afternoon.
It is already on our website.
It's probably live. Yeah, it's probably on our website. So there you go. Check it out.
I'm all about plugging it in.
Yes, absolutely. Are you gonna plug that in your weekly newsletter?
I am. It's already in there.
Cool. So, and if you guys don't know, you can subscribe to a weekly update that has some of the same stuff if you forget to go look at the bulletin. It's
only shorter, so each little thing is only a paragraph long. Because if you're like me, I see an article. Okay, before I worked on the bulletin, I would see an article on the bulletin. I'd be like, serious, a page and a half? I don't have time to read that. But these are just quick little paragraphs, so it's like a summary of what's in the bulletin and some other things going on. And not everything in the newsletter is in the bulletin, so sometimes you get more information.
Sure. Yeah. All right, let's switch gears here for kind of a final topic. What do you foresee for events? Like you said, we can't really have stuff. People, aren't necessarily comfortable coming, and, the protocol to be in place kind of takes a lot of the fun out of, why we have events.
Right. So we are kind of working on that. I'm working with we got some amazing volunteers who have even reached out to me and said, hey, since you guys aren't able to do this, why don't we meet and chat about some still ways to do some fundraising and do some quasi get-together situations. So we're kind of working that. We would love to be able to have the raffle. I know everyone loves the raffle at the Fall Festival. I know we gave away like a bunch of money last year.
Big ticket type one, right? Is that 1 year, 2 years? It's been a couple years.
Last year was the first year.
Is that the first year? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely better. The amount of tickets we had
absolutely.
prior to that.
Besides, who wouldn't want to win $10,000, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so people are just getting really innovative, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we're still trying to think of different ways. So if you guys out there in podcast land have any genius ideas, please contact us and let us know.
mfinney@transfigurationmn.org. PHINNEY.
Correct.
Go to the website. Yeah, we'd love to hear ideas. We'd love to get you involved. There'll be lots of Zoom meetings to play on. Yay.
Who doesn't love Zoom?
Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
I'm also excited. So if you remember, Erin, I don't know if you remember back in the Taste last year, we had Fun to Need, and we got all this sacred artwork, and we installed it during spring break.
Yeah, and then they didn't come back.
As I know a few kids have seen it out there, just because they haven't.
Right.
But the majority of the kids have not seen it yet, so I'm excited to see their faces and our teachers' faces when they see it. So I think it'll be great.
Yeah, it's in all of the halls. That's right. Yeah, doesn't it seem like forever?
It does. Right? But I realized this morning, I'm like, man, those kids have never seen that yet.
So there are just some gorgeous prints of saints, and mostly saints, and some scenes.
So all the big canvas art pictures are all different saints, and then we're going to have some smaller versions of canvas art that are like some of our students and some sites around the area here. So it'll be great.
Oh yes, Miss Martha, our wonderful secretary, Martha Praska, is attaching the canvas to the wood frames that our wonderful Phil Stoffel.
See, this is how our staff all works together.
Yes.
I picked out the pictures and organized and got them all purchased, and then I had Phil, because I have no arts and craft skills whatsoever. Trust me.
Well, Father Erickson gave you I'd like this, and this, right? And then you had to find that.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you had me put the framed art together, who knows what it would look like. So I had Phil get some wood and make a frame, and then Martha, who is a lot more talented than I am.
I think she used to work somewhere
I
in
think
framing,
yes,
right?
she did.
Or has experience somehow.
And she also sews a lot, too. So she's
very crafty.
Crafty, yeah, not me. That's not my... God gives a lot of talents, and that one is not mine.
Yes.
I have a lot of other talents.
Yeah, I can hack at it when I try, but there's not a lot of time.
Well, apparently there's a certain way you're supposed to put the canvas on there when you're using the staple gun. I guess
Martha would know.
Yes,
yeah.
no, I guess Phil was trying to do it one day, and one of us people were trying to help her out, and she's like, "You guys aren't doing it the right way," and so she's doing it, like, thankfully, because it'll actually get done and look right. Which who knows how it would look if I did it or if you did it, or.
Yeah, I wouldn't know where to start. I would try to find a video and probably staple my finger to the frame. That would be fun.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good to do on the job.
No, it wouldn't. All right, well,
thanks. It's been great being on here.
Yeah. We'll keep. So I think we'll bring some more staff on, and I think once a month we get to have sort of more of a lady-centered podcast.
Yeah, I know the guys were doing it for a while in the summertime. It's
they were. Yeah. Well, and that's what I said. I said to Justin, like, I think it's time. I said, and then Kristen is just so enthusiastic.
Yes,
and she's awesome, and I had met her through Walk with Purpose a little bit, but
there's kind of a theme
how
here.
would you be? Yeah, there is. It's a wonderful program. People contact one of us. We'd love to talk to you about it. Yeah, and so then now with Father Lynch and just a lot going on, we're going to do a monthly podcast, and Justin has a schedule, so it's great. He's the brains behind this, and some of the guys in the young adult men's group really kind of got this going and bought this equipment so we can do it. And it's
absolutely.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, good. Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and until next time, God bless you all.